recording. But I do want to say that Dave has been really, really keen on AI. It seems from the beginning it came out. And I think it's up to running 50% of his business right now. And his business is growing very fast. So that's significant. But I want to ask Dave on right up front, can everyone in this room use AI to their benefit?
Definitely. If you're not using it, you will be at a disadvantage. I did a presentation, what, a year ago, I think, with you guys, maybe a
Mm-hmm.
year and a
Mm-hmm.
half, right? And back then it was, you know, AI was going to take over the world and all of those guardrails needed to come up. It was going to be destructive and stuff like that, right? It's changed a lot since then, and the future looks crazy actually from where I sit from, in terms of what I've seen and where I see coming down the road. But we'll get into it in the presentation and stuff like that. So hopefully you guys get something out of this.
All right. So go ahead and introduce yourself and take it away. Take us in whatever direction you want to take us.
Okay, so I'm gonna just do the slides because I have that one, who I am slide, but I'll start the preso and we'll go from there. So I started actually before everybody jumped on, and I had music. So welcome and thanks for taking the time this morning to attend this presentation. I want to try and actually cover three things for you guys, right? One, how you can use AI to save time in your business. There's been a lot of changes, and recently I discovered a couple things that actually saved a ton of time for me in my business. The next thing is a lot of people use AI and they just use it, with the chat and stuff like that. If you're doing that, then you're not really using it strategically. You should be using AI strategically to actually build your business up. And then the third thing, hopefully you get out of this, is that there is no limits now, I think, in AI, other than things like doing surgery and stuff. Even that is actually changing. We're at a good time, and if you can take advantage, I think, your business actually will be very good. So who I am. I run a consulting company and I focus on workflow, and that's where I started. I'm actually a co-owner in two SaaS products and also a sole owner in a third SaaS product. I've worked with over 100 companies over my career. So I've seen almost everything out there. And as Dave sort of said, I jumped on the AI, not because it was something that was coming on. I just knew that the once the genie gets out of the bottle, you can't stop it. So the guys that haven't been focused on it, sort of they're being at a disadvantage at this point in time. Other things about me, I'm a dog dad, two dogs, and I play many sports to keep fit. I'm actually mentoring as well in the community. And actually, Sarah, who's actually in this presentation, has well, you can ask her, in terms of what I've been able to do to help her and stuff like that. So last time, I started the presentation with this thing about, everybody was scared of AI and stuff. So I had to pull this clip back out. It's one of my favorite clips. So I'm just going to start with this. Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
So that was basically the first presentation where we were totally scared in a sense of what AI was going to potentially do and not do and things like that, where it was going to be able to take over and build themselves and stuff. But over the last year, the big focus has been that AI is going to displace a lot of jobs, right? Okay. And this sort of video, you have to read the subtitles, but I think you'll get a chuckle out of this.
David, are you sharing the video? Because we're not seeing it.
Oh, sorry. Okay, let's see what let me go back. Um, can you guys see that screen here? Let me play it like this then. You're not seeing that screen, eh?
No. You can hear a sound, but not the screen.
Yeah, I just pressed the share button on my screen and it's giving me permission to. Um, so yeah.
Should I oh, it's not showing it. Okay. You guys can't see that?
No,
No.
no.
No, you probably have two computer screens, right?
Yeah.
And
Can
it's
you
probably
see
on the other
the other
one.
one?
We're seeing you. You're pinned to the screen right now.
Screen? Okay, so let's try this screen. Can you see that?
No.
No? Okay, so it's not that screen. Sorry
Here,
about that.
How
let me
many
just
screens you have there?
I got three.
here, let me just try to share mine and see if it's just maybe it could be. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, Sarah, we
We
can
see
see.
that you're just about ready to share. Yeah, we saw
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Okay, okay. So it does work.
Okay, let me try sharing that screen then here. Share. The video is on there.
Oh, perfect.
Okay,
Do you
now
see
we
that?
see.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
It's gone?
No, 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 it's there.
Is it? Okay.
Mhm.
So let me go back one slide and do you see that?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, but
so
it's not like the full screen of the slide. It's like, you know how you can do the
oh, it's the okay. Yeah, I know you're seeing the preview one on the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Okay, sorry about that, guys.
It's okay.
Um, I'll play the video later, but anyways, we'll get back to this here. Oh, I better share the right screen.
How many screens do you have?
If I show you my setup, you're gonna be
Yeah, it's like my dad's. He has like seven different screens, and it's like, yo, like he looks like he's in, you know, those space movies where they're all like sitting in front of the big controller and there's 100 screens.
yeah.
Basically like that, but he just works like that.
I'll show you my screen later on in the Q&A, but anyways, the video is pretty cool. But anyways, it's you'll get a chuckle out of it, right? So let me just start here. Can you guys see the slides now?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. So 2 years ago, basically, AI was coming for you, right? That was where everybody was sort of scared. Right? It was a tool that you could actually use, right? Okay, or people started to use it, right? Early adopters had a massive advantage. And right now, the playing field, right, it's leveling pretty fast. Today, I actually think it's almost the race to the bottom for the big guys. Last year they spent billions of dollars in AI and stuff like that. This year, a lot of them are pulling back. Microsoft even is pulling back. The only guy spending big money is Facebook or Meta, because a lot of them are not making money, but there's an outlay of a ton of money in the industry and stuff like that. Okay. So everything I told you last time, right? That now is like what the baseline. Okay. So what's coming next? Um, this is the fastest adoption of technology in history. Um, so 75% of the knowledge workers use AI at work. nearly doubled in a single year. Source, Microsoft Work Trends. These are just some stats. 600 billion dollars spent on AI last year, like I said. That's up 76%. And then 19% of US businesses formally adopt AI, right? Okay, expected to hit 22% in the next 6 months. Um, AI didn't just get smarter, it got legs. So last year, compared to this year, you would have done things like, you would have asked a chat, a question, and it generated an answer for you, right? Today, you give it a task, AI actually will do it for you. Um, one tool, one output last year. Right now, you have multiple agents that are chained together that actually accomplish the task. Um, you need your expertise in every step, right? Because it was only giving you one answer at a time. Uh, Now you get basically agents that are specialists, right? And they're preloaded to handle specific tasks so that you can almost get anything that you might need done. Um, Saves thinking time, right? And basically now it's actually saves doing time. So you actually get all that productivity back. Static, you return to it because you only get the answers on the screen, and then now it dynamically can run in the background while you actually go and do another task. So the difference between a chatbot and an agent is like getting advice from a consultant versus hiring somebody who actually shows up and does the work for you. Okay, so that's the difference today. And if you're not getting this, right, then you should be looking at it. Um, You can add this now, basically, right? AI is changing so fast, it's almost impossible to keep up. Okay, since I did this presentation, Dave talked to me a week and a half ago. Um, I'm going to cover some things to help you today, like I said, right? And at the end, I'm going to cover some of the advanced stuff so that we don't bog it down a bit. The difference between 3 weeks ago and today, like I said, I've seen so many changes and other things that have been shared for free in the open source community. And there's been a couple of apps actually in the last week that actually got released, which was crazy, right? So like that's the speed that this technology is coming on. Um, so how has AI affected my business, right? I'm getting a lot more done, okay, and less people. Did I hire anybody? No, I didn't hire anyone new, right? I added a couple of tools to my business. So the first one is called Little Bird. It's just a silent app that runs on the computer. It literally captures everything that I do in my day-to-day, right? And I had different tools in the past where I had to click to tell it when I started something, when I stopped stuff, right? And that actually didn't work really well for me, right? Because, I would forget when to click things and when to start and stop things and stuff like that. But with this app, basically, it just literally runs in the background, and I will show you guys some things that it actually generates for me. The other agent is called Goose. And this is the one that basically will allow you to do just about anything that you don't have the expertise in. Okay. And this is just one of many that are out there. And then the third one, Claude Code, right, which is huge right now. And I'm going to show you something on the marketing side, right? So I apologize if I, am making, the guys that talk about that, this is their business. This was a guy that presented something a couple of weeks ago that I seen, and he runs an agency. And basically, he open sourced all of this code so that anybody can actually run any of the tasks that an agency might need in their business, right? And it's all for free, right? So he basically gives you 43 marketing specialist skills, right, through this GitHub repo. I actually don't use these because I actually don't do any marketing, but I wanted to bring it up because it just shows you the level of things and where they've gotten to today. So so imagine if you if you never forgot anything, right? And I, in a typical day, will forget who I help sometimes because I get a random phone call from a client and things like that, right? Um, but this little bird app basically runs in the background, captures all the meetings, files, everything that I'm doing basically. Um, and roughly, from my guess, it's saving me about an hour a day. Okay, so that translates to what, 20 hours a month, 6 full work weeks per year, right? And it isn't even me just getting the 1 hour of billable time back. It actually captures the time more accurately because before I would guess at the amount of time I would spend on a customer. It might be half an hour or whatever like that. In actual fact, Little Bird will say that I spent, 45 minutes or an hour and stuff like that. So my billings have actually increased as well, right, from that. Enterprise user is just a stat that, it's on average the AI user or users that are using AI are saving 40 to 60 minutes per day on average, right? Um, so the video that I had hard time showing you, I'll show you at the end because it's actually very good. I seen it on Red Note. Red Note is the Chinese Facebook, and you can't move or share the videos from their platform onto, for like example, Facebook or Twitter and stuff like that. The environment's pretty well closed, right? So because I wanted the video, what I did was I set up my iPad and I recorded the video while I was playing with it, right? Now, obviously it was in Chinese and the audio was also in Chinese and stuff like that, which I didn't want. So what I had was I had this video, no audio, but I thought maybe, music would be appropriate to add to the video, right? And you guys obviously heard the music. So I had a video, no music, and I'm pretty sure in my applications, I probably have an application that would allow me to take a video and then add a music track to it and stuff like that. But what that would mean that is I would have to go and look at the software, learn how to use it again, or familiarize myself, right? And then do the work to get the track to sync with the video. So instead, what I did was I opened up Goose. I described what I wanted it to do, right? It identified based on what I had installed on my computer, and it needed a tool called FFmpeg. I didn't have it installed, so it installed it. It then took the video and audio file, merged it, and then handed me the basic video, right? Okay. So other things that it can do, right? Again, here's a list. Um, Before in the past, if I didn't have the skill, I would have to go learn it, or it would slow me down, right? It would be a delay in getting it done. Now, basically, it's a prompt. I basically just prompt the agent, and it actually goes out and does it. So there's no things that will get in your way. So in Claude Code, if you're on the internet right now with any of the social, you'll see a lot of posts about Claude Code and stuff like that. And again, the guy Corey posted this repo that he allowed everybody to use for free. And it was trending at the time in the top five in the AI space, right? For shared open source code and stuff like that. So basically, he gave everybody the ability to use his code for this. And basically, it allows you to do everything that you need to do in a marketing agency. Agency level marketing expertise on demand for free. And because it's in Claude Code, right? You basically just need to run one command to install it under your Claude Code setup and stuff like that. So there's an example of some of the things that we go through. I'll go and I'll show you the list actually of the skills that he actually gives you with this repo. Okay. If you don't have AI, right, or you don't use it, and you don't have it on your resume, right, you're sort of behind. It was like having Microsoft Office on your resume 20 years ago on your resume, right? Everybody needed to use Word, Excel, and stuff like that, right? Today, it's basically reshaping all of the jobs and stuff like that. So if I go through these stats, these are the things that are getting affected now. I don't even know if these are totally accurate, right? It's just, again, one source. But I want to just bring out that recently, the Chinese court in China ruled that companies cannot terminate employees just to replace them with artificial intelligence systems, right? As authorities juggle, the effect that it's going to have on the workforce and stuff like that. So they're basically saying to the companies in China that you can't displace the people if you're using AI just to make more profit and stuff like that, right? So that's coming from, the other side of the world, right? Now, whether we adopt stuff like that, it's yet to be seen and stuff like that. So reshape is not the same as eliminated. The workers are actually getting more productivity. The question is, are you doing the reshaping or are you being reshaped by somebody else? So here is, oh, another video. You guys can't see this probably. Let me just see. Can you guys see that?
New college graduate today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we can see it.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
There's a new college graduate today, and I have a choice between
So
two.
this is Jensen Huang,
One that
right? The CEO of
has no
NVIDIA.
clue what AI is, and one that is expert in using AI. I would hire the one who's expert in using AI. If I had an accountant, a marketing person, the one that is expert in using AI, supply chain, customer service, a salesperson, business development, a lawyer, I would hire the one who is expert in using AI. And so I would advise that every college student, every teacher should encourage their student to go use AI. Every college student should graduate and be an expert in AI. And everybody, if you're a carpenter, if you're electrician, go use AI. Go see what it can do to transform your current job, elevate yourself. If I were a farmer, I would absolutely use AI. If I were a pharmacist, I would use AI. I want to see what it could do to elevate my job so that I could be the innovator to revolutionize this industry myself.
So simple message, right? You have to be on board now if you want to get hired and stuff like that, right? So currently, you can get all of this for your business now, right? So let's go through a couple little things. Let's say you can't afford a full-time marketer. You can get an agent actually to do that skill for you. You're losing hours rereading emails or doing meeting notes and consolidation of things like that, right? I think we started this meeting and there was all these AI note takers and stuff. I don't need an AI note taker in my Zoom anymore. I just have Little Bird actually listen to the conversation and it'll summarize everything for me in the background. Captures everything, repetitive tasks, if they're eating at your week, get an agent, right? Teach them how to do it on a schedule so that you don't actually have to deal with that. You need something built, right? But you don't code. You can probably have Cloud Code build it for you. You're doing low value admin instead of high value thinking. AI can handle the admin and stuff like that, right? So you can definitely take advantage of it, right? Here's another stat. Again, it's coming from Ad AI, Small Business AI Statistics 2026. Okay, so the companies that are pulling ahead, right, are compounding, right, because they're using the AI to do things a lot faster. And I know for myself, this one little quote here is that you're saying that companies that used to take 24 to 36 months to do something, do it in 6 months. For me, right, on some of the projects, on the coding and stuff like that, it might have taken me 3 months to finish. Now I'm getting it done in a day. Okay, so it's crazy the amount of time that you can actually save if you have the right tools, at your disposal and stuff like that. And then there's 56% of the companies report they're not getting enough from their AI investments, right? Okay. And the reason is they're bolting AI on broken workflows. So you have to fix the workflow first, okay? And then, that is where the gain is going to be. And just recently through the tax season, I found a broken workflow in one of my systems and stuff like that, which actually pointed to a deficiency for me. So I'm reworking that workflow and then putting AI on top of it and stuff like that. So the risk of moving is not that you will move too fast. The risk of waiting is that the gap becomes unclosable, right? So if you're not in it, then you should be in it. So action plan. Three things I'm suggesting for you, right? If you're not doing it. Install one of the new AI context tools. Just let it run for 30 days and see what it can actually optimize for you, right? The second thing, automate one 30-minute weekly task, right? Think about what you do day to day and try and automate that one thing, right? So that, you can get some time back and stuff like that. And then the third one, stay informed, right? Simply subscribe to a good AI newsletter. The field actually moves really, really fast. So you don't need to catch everything, but you can't afford to stop looking, right? Okay, and number three here, what you can do actually also is subscribe to many newsletters and then have the AI summarize from all of the blog posts and Substacks and things like that to get a summary for you and stuff like that. So you don't have to stick to the one, right? So resources and stuff like that. I'm not saying these are the best, right? Okay. It's almost impossible to pick the best tools and stuff like that. But these are the things that I've found over the last couple of months that actually work for me. And basically, these are the ones that are there. So Little Bird, it basically tracks everything I'm doing. Goose actually allows me to do almost anything that I'm not familiar with. Cloud Code allows me to write code and stuff like that, or augment the code that I need, right, for projects. If I need marketing skills, then here's a free repo. That was just all the data that's there. Other resources and tools that I use. Typing Mine, right, is it has distinct chatbots from different LLMs. Um, PYXA, media and text tools. Gamma is what I actually use to build this slide deck out in 5 minutes. Comet is the browser that I use. Whoops, let's go back here. And I had that on autoplay, sorry. Yeah, Comet's the browser that I use, and the reason is there's no ads. Basically, it blocks everything because it has AI built into it, right? And then these are some of the other devices that I actually use. So AirPods Pro, if I'm like when I was traveling, right, it actually translated Spanish to English for me when I was in Spain. And then a couple of things I'm playing with right now is the glasses, sort of like the Meta glasses and stuff like that. And basically, um, you can take a picture of whatever you're looking at literally out there, and it can actually describe what you're seeing and things like that. It'll do translation as well on images, uh, directional things. There's a whole bunch of things that these glasses are coming, or actually being able to aid you in your day-to-day life and stuff like that. So when I said that the agent list is huge and stuff, this was from 2025. Okay, and this is just a sample. There's no way to know whether, these are the best in class for, let's say, these different things that you're trying to do. But again, it would take a lot of time actually go and test them all and stuff like that. So because I don't need them all, I only focus on the ones that I actually use or I need for my business and stuff like that. Right. And again, like I said, this slide deck was made in Gamma, right? With just a description and it came up with the slides and stuff like that. So since I did this deck, last night and the day before, two new apps showed up. Okay, Victor and Runner. And again, these like literally, it's changing every day, right? So again, I loaded one of them. I'm going to check it out, and if it becomes a better tool than the ones that I'm going to use, I'm going to move on to the new tool and stuff like that. Because, as guys build new things, they look at the deficiencies of the other ones, and then you end up with a better tool. Not the definitive list. There's too many agents and models out there. So AI, you can actually run it for free if you wanted to. You just need to load another application on your computer, as long as your computer is fast enough to handle the LLM, right? Because it's fairly large and it needs processing power. Um, so basically, pick a few, right, of agents that you might need, okay, and then move on when you find something different. Okay. So the ones that I showed you basically said they actually work for me and they save real time. And prior to Little Bird, I actually tried two other apps right before, and I actually gave up on those ones because they only did partially what I needed to do and stuff like that. And then here, just again, I'm on a month-to-month plan with Little Bird, right? I didn't commit to it yearly, even though they offer a discount, because in another month, somebody might come out with, a better app. Okay. How should you be using AI, right? And I think I said that you should be using it strategically, right? So if you're using AI just for chat or automations, then you're sort of missing the point. You want to use it strategically, right? The stuff that you can't or couldn't do, right? Where you don't have the skills to do. So if you don't have the skills, you can go to this site, right? Skills.sh, and they provide 91,000 skills. So chances are you'll find something that you need in this site to actually accomplish what you're trying to do. So use case. I was in a webinar 2 weeks ago, Tech in Motion. Um, Basically, you get into a lot of these seminars and webinars and things like that. And they're not all using Zoom. They're using different platforms and stuff like that. So Zoom lets you save the chat, right? And a lot of times you're chatting with different people and people are posting their different, contact information in the chat and stuff like that. But again, here I couldn't save the chat. Okay. And, again, there was 487 people in this webinar, right? And I needed to get, the contact info, right? So what first thing I did was I just highlighted the chat list, right? Copied it, okay, and then I pasted it into the tool, and I said, take this chat list, right, and give me a list with all the contacts, right, and their relevant contact information so that I can use it and stuff like that. Okay, so this isn't the best use of AI, right? This is what I call the automation of a task, right? Okay. So if you're actually using AI just to do this, then you're sort of missing the power of AI, right? Okay, so how do you use this strategically in your business? So what I asked it was I said from the contact list, right, who are the people that I should be contacting, right? And you get into these meetings where somebody says, go have a meeting with somebody, right? And then you go and have the meeting with that individual and you finds out that there's nothing in common and you're sort of wasting time doing all these meetings, right? So use AI to actually go through it because it can actually go and check out the LinkedIn profiles and then it can give you the guys that you should be contacting, right? Okay, that will be strategic to your business and stuff like that. Okay. So there's one case. Second case, I was on a call with a client and she was asking me about AI and stuff. And we, through the conversation, she mentioned something that I thought, would resonate with everybody. She said, I used to use AI for chat like everyone else and thought the outputs looked too AI-ish when generating letters. And I think Maureen mentioned that just before we got it when she was doing the intros and stuff like that. Then she realized that she needed to put her own touch on it to make it better. But what she was blown away was the ability for the tone of the letter to change, right? Just by telling it to change the tone, right? okay, and that she needs to use or strategize, right, and let AI do all the wordsmithing. Whereas before, she was actually doing all the typing and not really thinking strategically about what she would actually contact the clients about and stuff like that. So now she says, all I do is I think about all of the strategy things that I need to put in words, and I have AI do all of that. And what she does is she runs a charity for the waterfront, and she needs to talk to a lot of people because they need to, or she tries to get them to donate money for the cause, right? Okay, so she's using it strategically to drive her business, right? Again, it's another case. Third case, how good are the tools? So what I was going to do was show you the tools, and then I was going to go through an example of building a website. So I'm going to come out of this for a sec. And David suggested that I do a site for Karen, right, who normally is running these meetings. So if I get to, there it is here. Okay. So there's multiple tools out there that you can use actually to build websites out. But this is one that I found pretty slick because a year and a half ago I used another tool and I didn't think the output was any good at all, right? When you're building out the sites and stuff like that. So what I did was I um, I put together just something that I thought about, what Karen did, right? Okay. And then what the site does is you actually put in what you want the AI agent actually to do, right? So you described it there. And the first time I didn't mention Karen at all, right? Okay. And what it did was I think it moved it to the other window there. Sorry. Oh, I lost that one. It built out this site literally. Okay. And this took like 5 minutes to build out. Okay. Um, and it's fully mobile. So it works on a phone, iPad, desktop, things like that. The only thing you can see is missing is some of the customization, like a logo if she needs it, right? But I can use AI to generate that logo, right? So that was just a generic ask from me, right? Okay, um, using this window here, right? So then what I did is I said, okay, let's go and let's use AI to the point where let's bring Karen's information. So what I did is I put this together, right? So I said, here's the Facebook link for her, right? From this link, please pull any relevant data that can be used for Karen, build a website for her business. She creates picture books that tell wonderful stories of people's lives in different situations, right? Please make the site so that it runs on mobile, tablet, and computer browsers, right? Have it capture data for leads and show examples of different work if possible. Okay, so that's all I typed out. So then what I did is I pasted it in here, and then I used the prompt builder, and what it did is it expanded the ask, right? Okay, so from there, it then built out this site, and we go here to here. Oh, okay, that's not working. But again, I think some of this stuff comes from what she actually has and stuff like that. Now, these sites are fully editable, right? So you can change them, you can put the text in, you can add graphics. You want to add more stuff connected to a database, you want to do SEO stuff, it's all generated. We're talking 5 minutes to generate this. Okay, so if you're using a design firm or whatever like that, again, you can change the style, you can do almost anything. Um, it's crazy good from what I've seen, right? From a site generation thing. The Corey Hines marketing skills, these are all the things that he's given you. A/B testing on your site, right? You do want to do ad creative, you want to do ads, you want to do the SEO, you want to do the analytics, you want to do churn prevention, you want to do co-marketing, you want to go do cold emails. These are all the skills that he's included for an agency, right? Because these are pretty mundane tasks technically, right? You just interact with different systems and things like that, right? Um, the SH skills site, 91,000 skills. Okay. And you can go through and search and find almost anything that you need to do, right? That you might need to do, right? Here, there's what is it, Supabase there I just seen. That's one of the databases that I actually use, right? So I have no idea what that skill is, but chances are there's something there, right? And then when you get into the graphics thing, right? Here's a tool that I use called PYXA. Again, these are all the different agents that are specific to a specific task, right? You want to do an Instagram caption, you want to do a YouTube video tag, Google Ads and stuff like that. Literally, this stuff is geared specifically for that task, basically. Uh, let's go back. So the future, it's impossible to predict where it's going, right? Okay. About 2 months ago, I started down this OpenClaw setup because this was sort of the next big thing, in AI. And what this started was it started a run on Mac Minis from Apple. You can't buy a frickin' Mac Mini right now from Apple because everybody who was doing this, it was ended up buying these computers, right, to set up the OpenClaw setup. But then what happened was a couple of these tools sort of came in, and I could see that they could actually do a lot of things that OpenClaw was going to be doing. So why would I spend the time to, set this setup up and stuff like that? So I started using these tools, right, instead. But now that I got the tool set up, I'm trying to go back to this. But since the 2 months when OpenClaw first came out, all of the other competitors came up with their versions. So now you got Claude Cowork, you got Perplexity Computer, ChatGPT has a version, Microsoft Copilot, Cowork, Google Ad Space Studio, right? And the list goes on, right? So now again, it's going to be okay, which one is the better one for me, right? To set up, right? And basically what this setup will allow you to do is instead of just running one agent on your computer, just like I'm using Goose to do and stuff like this, um, when you set up these frameworks, you can have multiple agents running at the same time. I think one guy had 30 agents running. So he literally was running his entire business on one computer because he had somebody checking all his emails. He had somebody taking the funnel and putting them into the database and stuff like that, right? So literally, this is what these frameworks allow you to do is it allows you to have multiple agents running at the same time, right? So I could have delivered this presentation using a chatbot, right? Male or female with the face would have been much prettier than mine. But I decided let's keep it human, right? Here's the three fingers, right? Thanks, guys, for taking the time, like I said, Q&A. And if you need to talk, here is my LinkedIn information and my email. And I think I mentioned that I actually do mentor, and there's the information for that as well. And can you guys see this?
Oh, yes.
So that hopefully gets you high, right? Questions?
Oh, you are ready for questions, eh? All right. Not just questions, but comments as well. So if you have a comment that you want to make or you have a question you want to ask to get some more detail, this is the time for that. So let's start with Cliff.
Well, that was a wonderful presentation, David. I love AI. I use it a lot, but not in terms of business, but just day-to-day stuff, which is just so interesting. One thing you mentioned, excuse me, I didn't know. I just tell about my son-in-law. On the weekend, he used Claude Code to set up an agent,
Yep.
not Claude Code, but Claude Agent, whatever it is, because he had to go to the States and there's a meeting of 185 people, and he's in the finance area, and he wanted to meet with 50. He's got a chance to meet with 15 people. Anyway, long and the short of it is, he set the agent up. It analyzed, looked at all of the 185 people, came back with the 15 that closely related to him, and the
Right.
best ones, and why he should meet with them, which was quite brilliant. But I thought it couldn't access the LinkedIn profiles. But you mentioned just now about accessing the LinkedIn profiles. Do you do that through an agent or do you do it separately?
No, so so LinkedIn has, well, I don't know if it's changed. I know a couple months ago I was at an AI meeting in Toronto, and the guy was saying that LinkedIn actually has a restriction in terms of what you can do. But with AI, you can ask it how to get around the restrictions. So there are guys actually doing that because one guy did show how he was able to do it.
Ah,
You know what I mean? So you said your nephew, if he used it to
and
do
my
that,
son-in-law. Yeah.
yeah, he was brilliant, right? Because, I would totally do that, right? So I actually had it do something like that recently where I had to go and check a whole bunch of links on a different bunch of different people. And again, pull back the ones that are relevant and then just discard the other ones, right? Because, if I had to do it myself, you'd be spending hours, right, doing it.
Yeah.
And that's where it's really saving you a lot of time and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Incredible.
Interesting. Marcio, come on up.
I don't have any questions, but I second what Cliff just said. I was very, very impressed. I use a lot of AI, and there were certain things that you said, David, that
Mm.
really um, just yeah, just have me thinking about what I can, how
Do.
much more things I can do. I've written down so many different applications, so many different things that you said, where I'm using similar applications or doing things very adjacent or very near, where it was just like a light bulb went off, and so. I will certainly reach out to you, and I'd love to pick your brain about a few things. But yeah, I was very impressed. I think you and even when you were setting up and when you were telling people that you use three screens or three screens, I was thinking I use four. I literally have them up in and then a little square. So yeah, just very. I'm very, very impressed with everything that you showed. And just like Cliff asked as well, I've also tried um, to get AI to look up LinkedIn profiles, and I've come into that problem in the past. So I'm gonna give it a try and ask my agent how to get around it because yeah, and I use a lot of Claude as well for coding.
Yep.
I built 2 or 3 websites in the past month
Mm.
where 90% of the coding was literally done with Claude. And every time the client came back and said, "Hey, can you change this thing?" I can have this done in an hour. And sometimes they were like, "But how are you?" But yeah, very, very, very impressed, David. So yeah, thank you so much for what you put into this presentation.
No, you're welcome. So I just quickly show you this here. Where's my share screen again? So you guys are asking about the can you see that picture?
Yeah.
So there's one, two, three, four, five, six, seven screens. All right.
This is real?
That's real.
And that's
Yeah.
three computers, David? Three
One
computers,
computer.
seven monitors?
No, one computer. Hmm.
One computer, seven
Yeah,
monitors. And
seven monitors.
is that a one of those one of those Big Mac minis, I'm assuming.
No, it's actually a Mac. It's one of the original Mac M1 notebooks, right?
Okay.
And then I have a device that hooks into one of the USB ports, but that device then has a couple of video outputs as well. So I have native monitors plugged into the other two USB ports, and then a couple of plugged into the device. And then the iPad can do that, shifting thing by itself, right, using the Wi-Fi, and then you end up getting like seven. I remember
Wow.
posting it on Instagram, and one guy said, "How did you do seven?" Right? He goes, "I could only get six," and I explained to him how I got seven, right? And they're like, "Holy crap, blowing guys away," right? So yeah, that's sorry about that bit there. But the video was pretty hilarious, actually. That one that I if I can find it. Well, I'll look for it. But if you guys have another question, just
Yeah,
yeah.
Canon is up there ready to ask you a question. So go ahead, Canon.
Thank you, David, for this wonderful insight. My question was, I was impressed by what you said for you built a website in just few minutes. I
Hmm.
am looking to do it for myself, trying to see how best I can do. Can you share more details? It was quite fast that you did show that.
Yeah, I
Share
didn't.
the tools and uh, kind of prompts that you give to the
Yeah,
tool.
no, yeah, I can share that with you. Like basically that platform, because I do sites, right? I actually don't, sorry, I don't do sites in the traditional sense of like doing like the, like guys need like a just a marketing or business card site or whatever like that, a static site. Most of the sites I do are driven by data and stuff, right? Where there's interaction and then the data comes in and it's presented to the client and stuff like that. So I deal with a lot of law firms and stuff like that. And they use it as their office to communicate with the clients and stuff like that. So part of building the sites, actually Sarah actually left the meeting, right? So she is using my platform and she ended up building a website for her new business using that platform. So the difference there is that, yeah, you can use Claude Code to build the site, okay, just like Marcio said, right? Okay. The problem though is when you have Claude build the site, you have the pages, you still have to get it up onto a platform, like a server somewhere and things like that, so that it's hosted and things like that, right? And then they then come back to you to make the changes, just like he said, and he could do it in an hour and stuff like that. My thing is I don't really want to be involved in building the site. Okay, so this platform allows you to describe the site. It will actually build it. It gives you an interface to actually change it yourself. So I'm not doing it, right? So I'm teaching you how to fish as opposed to doing the fishing for you, right? So when Sarah built her site, I just gave her the portal, a login, and then once she's subscribed in, she can do the site herself, basically, right? And I don't get involved into it, right? Because I don't want to be doing those meetings where, how do you want it to look and stuff like that. When that happens, I bring in a UX person and because I'm not a designer, right? And stuff like that. So this platform was designed specifically to take care of all of the things, right, that somebody needs to do from the website. And then I'm not involved in it. It handles the hosting as well, right? The bandwidth, you upload the graphics, things like that. You change the text yourself and things like that, right? So it's almost like doing WordPress, but it's not in the sense that WordPress you have to put the modules in or you have to use a template or something that somebody's already pre-built, right? So if you're basically paying for hosting, then this system will allow you to do that as well. But the thing is, you have a whole platform that you can keep changing on the fly and things like that, right? So that's basically what I did for my customers, right? And say, okay, you need a site here, go here, you deal with it. If you get into trouble, then you can call me, right? Okay, but again, that's the system, right? So yeah, there's a lot, like I said, a lot of tools out there that you can actually do the sites, right? Because I think that PXYA, I could build a site on there, but then you have to then to get that last mile, get it hosted somewhere, and then you have to deal with that and stuff like that, and and that's the other issues, right, with it. And the other thing with this AI thing, it handles all the SEO, right? So it says, okay, what am I trying to do? Who are your competitors? It actually will bury all the SEO into the pages for you. So instead of you then hiring another guy to do that part, right? That's the platform. So from my perspective, the platform does way more than just building the website and stuff like that, right? Okay.
I think he's looking for the name of the platform.
Oh yeah, it's just one that I actually like do the subscriptions to. I can send you the info on the other one, and then basically I can't remember the pricing on it, but I'll forward that over to you. Right.
Yeah, that
Okay.
would be nice. Thank
Yeah.
you, David.
Okay.
Thank you.
And Kenan, your information is in the chat, right?
Yes, I put
Good.
it in the
Okay.
chat.
Good. Good.
Don't worry. Little Bird will tell me that I need to follow up with you, right, on that.
Thank you.
All right. Still looking for questions and comment. Um, Aidan, I was gonna call you up too, man, but he's gonna ask this question because his industry is very different from the familiar industries. So go ahead and ask your questions or your comment.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. And David, fantastic presentation, very informative for me. I don't know a tremendous amount of AI. I'm trying to learn more about it and see if it kind of can help my workflow out a bit. I have a few colleagues I studied with previously at Ryerson that have been posting of late. One guy, very, very well to do in the space in terms of like AI coding and designing and so forth. So I guess the first things that come to mind, I have three questions I had here just written down. What do you generally spend on a monthly or yearly basis for the AI sources you use? Just high level. Secondly, security issues. How do you keep all that information protected? Like if you're getting a bot in the background to take all of your information, like a constant listening device, where is that information going and how do you kind of control that if you can? And then the last comment I have, and this is simple, this is kind of going back to my training as an engineer, where if you use software, you better be sure that the junk in and junk out match. So then how do you error check what you've done and put in there separately on the back end? And that's kind of where I'm sort of a little hesitant on the AI side. But yeah.
No, those are great questions. So security, I'm going to just cover that one really quick, right? When I said I was going down the OpenClaw setup, right? The issue with OpenClaw is it actually needs access to your entire computer. Okay. And when I mentioned that everybody was running out buying these Mac Minis, those Mac Minis have some very powerful chips in them, right? Okay. With the M5s and M4s that Apple has. What they were doing was they would buy those computers, they would load the OpenClaw on a fresh computer. Okay. And then that computer or OpenClaw only had access to that one system. And then it communicated with the necessary external sources to get the info so that the security risk wasn't there, right? Because it was now enclosed, right? That's why the run on these systems have been like crazy. You can't get one right now. So the other way was you would build a virtual system on your computer so that it was self-contained inside the computer. And again, the OpenClaw was set up on that virtual, and then basically, it communicated to the different things, right? Now, that's a lot of work, okay? So when you load something like Little Bird and all these new apps that started to come out by all these providers, right? They looked at that as an issue. Okay. So with Little Bird, what it does is you can go into the preferences and you can say to it, what things do you not want it actually to look at? So for example, when I go onto a bank site it actually disables itself. It doesn't look at what you're doing. So it doesn't see your passwords and stuff like that you're putting into that and stuff like that. So there are certain sites that it defaults the no access to on there. And then you can actually specify the apps that you don't want it to do, right? Okay. And then let's say I'm on a call and I don't want it to be recording on it. I can actually disable it right from the main interface right there, and it basically stops recording, and then that stuff isn't even captured, right? So basically all that stuff is sitting there. And then with Goose, for example, you asked about costs, right? With all these different tools and stuff like that. So I actually run LM Studio on my computer and I load my own separate LLM on the system that I'm running so that I don't pay for AI, right? When I do a lot of the stuff that's there. A lot of the other tools that I have, they were pay one price, no monthly subscription. So that PXA, it was like I think $70 or something like that, right? So I paid for that lifetime access and I get all those tools and stuff like that. Same thing with, for example, this one here, Typing Mine. It has all these agents in there and they're all pre-configured for like software developer, a nutritionist, financial advisor, pro coder, academic researcher, YouTube content writer, do-it-yourself expert, graphic designer, marketing expert. So these agents are set up specifically to handle that stuff, right? So with this tool, I think when it came out, the guy was trying to get some traction, and if I'm not mistaken, it was something like $29 or something, right? So I jumped on it and basically I'm not paying any more for that one thing. So it'd be like you going on the App Store and downloading an app and stuff like that. So try and look for things like that where you're not having to pay on a monthly. Now, I recently have a Claude subscription because I need to figure out what's going on with the Claude code and the co-work that they're doing. Because I want to see if I can build out enough agents on my system to handle a lot of the day-to-day things that I don't have to deal with and stuff like that, right? Okay. So the one that I'm paying with Goose, right? That's $10 a month, okay, to use it, right? But the way I look at it is if I get an hour back on my billable every day, right? That like just easily covers the cost of the $10, right? Because my hourly rate's way more than that, right? For my billables and stuff like that, right? So that one I have that's pretty well the only subscription I have for any of the tools that I actually use. And then the Goose one, when you load that, you can say, I want to use a subscription somewhere, or you can use a local LLM, which I've done. I've said use the local one on my computer, and then there's no cost to using that Goose tool to do like when I combine the video and stuff like that, right? I had to load Unix on an old notebook of mine. I have no clue on Unix, right? Because I'm a Mac guy and Windows guy, right, and stuff. So I had Goose give me the instructions on how to actually load the Unix on there, and then I actually loaded the server that I needed and stuff like that. And now I have this 12-year-old notebook running Unix, right? Because Unix doesn't need a shitload of horsepower, and I'm still able to use that 12-year-old notebook for a server, right, on one of my tasks and stuff like that, right? But again, that was through Goose and using the free LLM, right, that I have loaded on the computer and stuff like that.
The LLM, sorry, maybe I missed.
LLM's basically if you want to say the database or the like ChatGPT or OpenAI, right? When they create the large language model, that's all of the data that it consolidates so that it knows what to actually look for when you ask it, the stuff, right? And if you use ChatGPT, yeah, all that data that you ask will go back out to their LLM and it'll actually add it in, right? So the security is a real concern, right? So the thing is, you ideally want to load stuff locally so that it doesn't go to the cloud, right? Okay. So that you protect the information. So one of the systems that I'm building, basically, I don't have the AI actually go out to the cloud, right? Because we have sensitive data for the clients and stuff like that, that we're dealing with and stuff. So we have it local, and then to take the security another level, if there's any client information I have a separate database that substitutes data in. So, Aiden's name won't be Aiden. It'll say it's Cliff, right? So that if somebody does get the data, they can't tie the data to you through the name and stuff like that. It's going to be like a reference ID or something like that, right? Just like, the banks won't have all that data showing, right, when they're doing that. So these are some of the tricks that we put into the systems to protect the information, right? So,
I I do taxes, so I have a lot of data that I have to be super careful that
yes.
my computer doesn't get compromised.
Mhm.
And so how do I keep this safe?
Um, so Maureen, are you using like just the web interfaces where you just ask in the chat window? Or are you running like an age I don't know what AI you're actually
Oh, I'm
using.
using Chat GPT.
Yeah, so if you're using ChatGPT, I would not put any reference to any client information in there. Like you can ask generic questions and say, like what's the clawback on this if the client did this or something. But I
Yeah.
would not put any names and stuff like that or any, social insurance numbers or anything like that in that, right? Because that stuff goes directly back into their large language model, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Because what it's trying to do is it's trying to make itself better. So it tries to accumulate, any data that it can get and it'll actually take what you asked it as well from a question standpoint. Okay.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, because one time I asked, I was going to a networking meeting, but what I did was I just asked the tax tips and I
mhm,
put in Canada. So
right.
okay. And it spit out quite a few tax tips, but there was one that was wrong. And it was pension income splitting. It left out the word pension.
Yeah, there's
So I
actually
had to so what I did was I looked at it. Oh, no, no, that's not right. It's
yeah.
pension income splitting, not just income splitting.
Yeah, no, Aiden actually asked that. I think his third question was, how do you verify the data is correct, right? You actually need to double check the stuff or the outputs and
Mhm.
stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
There are a few commands that you can actually add in to the chat to do a verification. And then there's I can't remember the words that you need to put in at the end to slash it and then it will actually do a double check. And then so if you're using it strictly, first pass, I would not do that. I would, definitely read through it and stuff like that, right? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think I or anybody we're using it should do us as humans review it,
Yeah. Yeah.
not letting AI do it.
True, true. Can we get Dave? You haven't said anything yet. So
Me?
comment or questions.
No, actually, that was a really great presentation, David. I really
Thank
enjoyed it. Yeah, somebody that's knee deep in it and trying to keep up with it, like yourself, is and then apply it is, you know, onerous to say the least. And that's I've got a background with data and data analytics and automations and things like that. So I feel for somebody that's actually coming into it kind of fresh, you know. What I find myself personally is that working with, if there's somebody that's working with, uh, somebody like myself, I find that their domain expertise, they don't need to actually be the expert on AI. I prefer to have their deep domain expertise so they can actually help guide a project that we're working on. Just leave the technical bits to me
Right.
and that because if you get somebody that's got 30 years, 25 years experience as a financial planner or an HR specialist or whatever the case is, they're going to have a wisdom and a insight to it. They're going to be able to guide it in a different way. So
That's one of the things, if I just want to add something to it, that's one of the things that I deeply appreciate. And I I wish that there was more opportunities where people were sharing information like you just did. I thought that was really great. I enjoyed it. Um, I can also appreciate the fact that I'm never going to get through all of it. I'd have to, you know, just stop what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Stop what you're doing and check out
Yeah.
everything Dave just said. Oh,
Yeah,
great.
no.
Here we go. Down the rabbit hole, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
The,
very hard or very easy to do that, like you said, right?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I see stuff literally every day, and then it's like, okay, wait, this makes sense, but do I have time to actually do this right now, right? Because one of the big things right now is how many tokens are being used in some of these tasks and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
that's the big thing right now is everybody's complaining that Claude's like just bad for this, bad for that and stuff. And so there's like everybody releasing things to handle these deficiencies in Claude itself, right? But again, if you can get it, co-work to actually do some stuff that's like, okay, it's only costing you $10 or whatever, but you get 3 hours back in a day. Like that's crazy, right?
Hmm.
So like that's the way I look at it is, okay, wait, how much is this costing me? And then what am I getting back, right? And I think I said to Dave before, right, when I look at my Little Bird outputs and stuff, it's like, wow, I actually worked like 7.5 hours that was billable today, right? And I'm sitting there going, I would never do that before or bill that many hours, right? But it was able to capture everything that I did, and it actually gave me the synopsis of what I did, right? So then you can literally put that on paper, right, and bill the client for it and stuff like that. So
Nice.
um, yeah, so it's more than the hour that I'm getting back, right? That's why I said that, it's doable today. And then and if you're not sure, like Aiden, you're in a business that, has any no tech and stuff, like that, like Jensen said, right? If you're a carpenter or electrician, you should be asking AI what to do to take your business to that next stage, right? And stuff like that, right? And it will give you like its recommendations and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like use it strategically. You know what I mean?
Currently
You
use
yeah,
Chat Smith.
yeah,
It's like 4 or 5 of the bots or the agents or the companies that are under. So there's Grok, Gemini, a
yeah,
few others. It's only on my phone. I've started to limitedly, like I don't, there's not a burgeoning need for me right now in my business to do that, just because it's structural consulting work where predominantly most of that you can't just go design me this and say, rubber stamp it and send it. So I guess that's what it's kind of the junk in, junk out in a model. Like if I build a model in like, eTabs or let's say what's another big one there, Riza. I don't know if you've heard of these finite element modeling software tools, but they usually kind of help build our environment and they're sort of off the shelf stuff that you take around, you can doctor. But if you were to AI that only and say, AI, run me a building from here to here, like you said, you got to go back in and check that because if there's one error there,
yeah,
you're in serious trouble. And like they're not going to go, let's jail the AI. You're going to jail, right? So it's kind of you really gotta keep it above board. And I think like you said, like the enhancement tool being the important one versus it being a complete takeover. And that's my fear in a sense of you sort of feed all of this information and it comes back at you in a way that you don't want.
yeah.
And so I'm learning. But anyway, just to kind of give some context to that, what you were saying there from my end.
So,
Yeah.
so
What?
prospecting is probably the big deal for you. Prospecting and billing.
Yeah, prospecting, I think you're right about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
A question though, David. Did you two things? I missed your LinkedIn info and that. Is there going to be like, are you posting some links or anything like that to the software and how to connect? I'd love to chat with you a little bit more sometime in the future.
Yeah, so it's just here, I'll put it in the chat here. Uh
Okay, great.
yeah.
On
So
that note, Dave and Dave, we officially we're gonna stop it here.
Okay.
And I don't know if Dave is able to stay around for any longer, but thanks for your time. Appreciate your time. And yeah, you just kind of blow my mind. So there's a little explosion in it. So I have to go fix that now.
I feel similar, Dave.
Yeah, there it is. It's in the chat now, the LinkedIn. So yeah,
Perfect.
hit me up there.
All right. Did he do a good job, guys?
I thought it was great.
Excellent presentation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank
Excellent,
you.
Dave. That's what we're here.